Scott Fitzgerald defeats Anthony Fowler on a 10-round split decision. The scorecards were 94-96 for Fowler and two scorecards of 95-94 for Fitzgerald. Wow, this was a fantastic fight. Really, if you have not seen this fight, or if you're getting kind of my input on this, look this fight up on YouTube. This fight was fantastic from start to finish. Let's get into it. The first 3 rounds I gave to Anthony Fowler. Anthony Fowler was really controlling it with his jab from the first few rounds. Scott Fitzgerald was very cagey, very cautious to start with. And I kind of thought that maybe the occasion got to Fitzgerald a bit, and maybe the punching power of Fowler, because Fowler is a fighter who I haven't covered on this channel, but I have watched a lot of. I've seen a lot of Fowler's fights, and he loads up a lot on his shots. He's very big for the weight, and I thought maybe he intimidated Scott Fitzgerald. But after the 3rd round, Scott Fitzgerald started to kind of come into the fight. He was landing a jab on Anthony Fowler with regularity, and he was catching Anthony Fowler with right hands, counter right hands, and a few uppercuts on the side. And Anthony Fowler, I've watched a lot of his fights, as I've said. I haven't criticised him on my channel, but I've always been very critical of his defence. He's a very leaky defence, and he never moves his head. And it was very apparent in this fight, because you could see his head was getting snapped back with jabs, right hands, and uppercuts on the inside, and there was just no head movement there at all. And even on the rounds where Fowler was looking to maybe assert himself, you have the vision in your head of seeing Fowler just get jabbed and jabbed and jabbed. So Fowler's defence was letting him down, and the more crisp, clean, effective shots were definitely coming from Fitzgerald. And you could definitely see that he was the boss in there in terms of just who was more comfy. After about the 6th round, you could definitely see Fowler was starting to breathe heavier. He was, really stretched out on his stool, and his legs looked a little bit weird. Not in terms of, being, rocked or anything like that, but they looked kind of weird in terms of fatigue. It looked like he was really struggling to hold himself up. And, I gave most of the second half of the fight to Fitzgerald. I thought, them rounds were reasonably clear for Fitzgerald. Apart from the 9th round. In the 9th round, Fitzgerald got caught coming in with a beautiful uppercut from Anthony Fowler. And Anthony Fowler pretty much sold out. He emptied the tank on Fitzgerald, tried to get him out of there, tried to drop him, and he couldn't. And you could tell coming near the end of that round, end of the 9th round, Fitzgerald was kind of getting a little bit more into it. And you kind of saw that Anthony Fowler didn't have much else to give. Going into the 10th round, I thought that it was very crucial that Fitzgerald had a good round if he was to win this fight, because even though I thought he was winning, and one thing I don't normally agree with Carl Froch's scorecards, but I agreed with Carl Froch, and I thought Fitzgerald was ahead, but he needed the 10th round, and obviously he dropped Anthony Fowler in the 10th round. I think it was more so fatigue than it was anything else from Fowler. Definitely he was hurt from the shots, but I think if he hadn't have been so fatigued, he probably would have stayed up, but he went down. One thing I don't like is when a fighter has another fighter hurt and they just let him off the hook, and that was one thing that Fitzgerald did. Now, he might not have got Anthony Fowler out there, he might have walked onto something, so I could maybe see why. He knew he had the round won, but, I like to see fighters, get if they have the guy down, they have the guy hurt, go for the kill. But that's a little nitpick on an absolutely fantastic fight, and in the end, it proved that 10th round knockdown was crucial for Fitzgerald, because had he not got a 10-8 round, then I think the scorecards would have read 95-95, and we would have had a draw. We would have had a majority decision draw. So it was absolutely crucial that Fitzgerald got that knockdown in the 10th round. Otherwise, he would have had a draw, or maybe they might have given that round to Fowler. Who knows? But yeah, it was a fantastic fight. Credit to both fighters. They really did put on a fantastic show, and it really did kind of lift the atmosphere based on what happened in the Price Cash Ali fight, which I've already touched on this channel. Excuse me. Fantastic fight. Both guys can come back from this. Obviously, Fitzgerald's going to go from strength to strength, but Fowler can come back from this. He made a good account of himself. I think Fowler's biggest issue is he tries to load up too much on shots, and he does have a leaky defence. And I think he needs to look at that and work on that. Maybe not loading up as much, not relying on your power so much, because he's always had a leaky defence, even fighting guys who are not in his league. And you've always seen Fowler get his head snapped back, and I think you knew once he stepped up to kind of British level, that was going to be an issue, and obviously it was. But hats off to both guys. It was a fantastic fight. I definitely encourage anyone to go and watch it. It was a fantastic fight from start to finish. Credit to both guys. They put on a great show, and really enjoyed it. We have the main event coming up next, so I'm looking forward to that. My heart's still a little racing a bit heavy after this fight, so very good, entertaining fight, definitely. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on this. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the fight. And if you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment, all that. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. Again, thanks for dropping by the channel. Much appreciated. And as always, I will talk to you after.